I call it the now journey. So if you know what our group is about, it's the nuggets of wisdom. And I believe that in our life, we go on this journey of those nuggets that we gain from our life's experiences that take us and lead us to purpose. So we all have our now journey in different areas. And I believe that if we are able to recognize that and then share it with someone, we're able to help encourage them, right? And help the next person. And so that's my purpose in sharing my story. Some people call it a testimony, a journey, an experience, but we all have them. And so tonight, I hope by sharing this a little bit more in detail with you, you will find some encouragement in it too, and maybe something you can relate. So tag, share, put in somebody's inbox maybe that you know. But tonight, again, we're talking about loving the skin that I'm in. Loving the skin that I'm in. All right, so I'll try to be concise with my story, but it does start and stem back from being being a child. And some things that I've talked about before, you've probably heard and won't be new in some of my experiences. So briefly, just me being a kid growing up, I had, let's see, so I don't even know the politically correct term, but I was overweight, chubby. What's the right word? Somebody. What? Thicker. Somebody. Thicker, big bone. Okay, so I was overweight as a child, and that proved to be interesting and difficult, to be honest, and challenging time frame for me. So from the time that I was as young as I can remember, definitely by the time I started getting into elementary and stuff, I was, chubby, overweight. And so then you go through the point of dealing with what we call bullying now, being talked about, made fun of, all these different things. And it would be sometimes discouraging, hard, challenging to go to school and wonder about what what somebody might say. And it was kind of twofold, because then there were kids that would kind of taunt me. And okay, somebody said overweight is the right terminology. Okay, good. So I was overweight. Sometimes some kids would taunt me and talk about me, and then others, there would be some that were just super nice, and then like, no, don't talk about Tasha. So it's like sometimes I would get it, and then other times I didn't have nobody covering or protecting me, and I would just, get made fun of, all these different things. And so I went through that whole battle, and, wishing and wondering and not understanding why people are talking about me, didn't feel like I had any friends, and just a lot of different things. And really me and my identity and understanding who I was in my own skin, that start as a child. You begin to develop and understand who you are, what you are, all these different things. And that's something that really struggled for me in those formative years, then being feeling like I wasn't good enough, that people, my peers would not accept me the way that I was and for who I was. And so that really made it difficult. It was time frames where I felt like I didn't have friends, and I really did not. And I was already shy and reserved. And so it was not going to be easy per se for me to have friends. And I remember starting out, I was just like, Mom, I remember talking to my mom, like, Mom, I don't really have friends. And I would just like to have a really good friend, a really nice friend. And if you know my mother prayed about everything. And that was one of the things that we prayed for. I remember very vividly. And I ended up getting a friend. The prayer worked. I'm not discounting prayer at all. It definitely worked. But just some of those experiences that I dealt with, all of those type of things really challenged me in being comfortable in who I was. And a lot of times we deal with um, being comfortable in our skin because of what we look like on the outside. And, you know, what people have to go off of is what our physical appearance, our outward appearance, and they can judge you by what you look like, your skin color, you know, your the type of hair, the type of clothes, your height, your weight. They will judge you without even really knowing who you were or who you are. And that's what I felt like. People didn't really know who I really was. They just automatically judged me prematurely and didn't give me a chance. So that had some struggle with it. Maybe there's something wrong with me. All right. And so we continue along this journey where those things continue to fester. Now we're dealing with low self-esteem and poor self-image and just feeling like I wasn't pretty, I wasn't beautiful, that nobody would like me. Little boys weren't trying to play with me or like me, or all of these different kind of things as you grow up and go along, right? And so even we fast forward and keep going, like I get into my middle school years, and at that point is when I decided that I wanted to try to do something about my weight, and I decided to start exercising and losing weight. And I wasn't doing it for other people, but I wanted to do it for me. And so I did. And by the time I got to high school, like there was a point in time where there were people who didn't even realize or recognize who I was. It's like that's oh man, wow, you look really nice, and just all these kind of things. And I was like, well, thank you. All right. So even in the point of me going through this process of even losing weight, and now I feel like I'm at the acceptable um, look of an average size teenage girl, and I can now go pick clothes off of a rack and not have to have things altered or have my mom extend the clothes, because there wasn't really a lot of plus size options for little girls, and she would have to buy like the biggest size and then still fix it. I remember all those things and just feeling like there's just nobody or seemingly anything out there that really relates to me. So I didn't like who I was. I wasn't comfortable with who I was at the time. So even going to the point of losing weight and now being able to fit in, be the average teenager, how about I still wasn't comfortable in the skin that I was in? I still wasn't comfortable with me. And so I said all that to say that even sometimes we look at our outward appearance and we do the things to change on the outside, and that's great. We should. There are things that we can definitely do to feel great about ourselves and to look great and to be healthy and to do things right. But when I talk about being comfortable in the skin you're in, it's not just about that physical outward appearance. It's also about being comfortable with who you are and all that you are internally. And so that's something that I had to come to grips with and come to the understanding of. And even then, going through high school, going through college, and even into adulthood, this battle, this journey for me, I think I would say really started for me to recognize and come back to this point of really recognizing that, hey, I have to do some work. Hey, there's something within me. I can't expect to get validation or acceptance from other people. And I know we all want to be liked, or have a certain group of people or different ones or influencers that we would like to be in the in crowd or maybe be accepted. Because that's natural, normal, um, But I had to realize if I never got that acceptance, if I never became in the in crowd or became popular, that I had to be comfortable and love me. So I had to go on this journey of self-discovery and self-love and self-value and self-worth, and understand that no one else could give that to me. I had to first know and recognize that I deserved it, that it was missing, that I didn't love myself, that I didn't like myself, but that I deserved, and that there was nothing wrong with the way I was made or created. You know, sometimes there are some things that we're not comfortable with, we don't like, that we cannot change. Now, I gave you the example of me being able to change and do something about my weight. There was a time I wasn't even comfortable with my skin color. Ooh, can we talk about that? Maybe you feel like you're too light. Maybe you feel like you're too dark. Maybe you don't like, some of these features that makes you you. It's how God created you, and there's nothing you can really do to change it. Um, you know, yes, colorism, a huge topic, right? And so prevalent, even in today's time, even more so. And we didn't coin it then as colorism. But yes, it was a big issue and something that still is for sure. So thinking like, okay, well, you see somebody, the light-skinned girl, maybe with the long hair or the good hair, feeling like your hair. How about that? Can we talk about hair? Like all of these kind of experiences and feeling like I'm not good enough because only this type of person is accepted or liked, or is popular. Because my hair isn't long and silky or curly and got the good hair, then um, I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful. I'm not pretty. If I don't have this perfect complexion, then I'm not beautiful. I'm not pretty. I'm not um, accepted, right? All of these things. And so I remember going through that, and even like upset that I can't change, um and mad, like, well, why? Then I'm like, okay, why I gotta have the mom and daddy I got then? Because it's their fault. Anybody felt that? Just being real. Like, why can't I have a different mom and daddy then? Because then maybe my features that I'm not liking about myself would be different. I mean, like all of these things, you go through this journey, you're going through this process, you don't understand why, and you think that it's only going to be better if you can be like such and such over there. Comparison, right? Yes, thank you guys for talking back to me. So like, come on, like you want to change. Somebody mentioned about changing their smile or their teeth because they, had a gap, or agreeing about their color, their complexion, or their hair. Like, feeling all of this and just feeling like you're just not measuring up to society standards, to your peer standard, and it's just not, you're just not good enough. Nobody is really liking you or really accepting you. And even, me feeling like, how can I change this? And then when I come to the realization, like, I can't change it, then, oh, now this is my life, got to be like this, or I'm just going to be this ugly person. I'm never going to mount up. I'm never going to be beautiful. I'm never going to be liked or, accepted. And I just want to encourage you, whether you dealt with it as a child and you can identify. So you got some younger kids, you got some teenagers, um, share this. Share this with them. Somebody that's going through a battle and a struggle, even in your adulthood, because that's real. Because guess what? I still struggle with it as an adult. Okay, I'm going to tell to you even about that piece next. But even in all that, just know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So that scripture is Psalms 139:14. I've mentioned before about being fearfully and wonderfully made, and that we're God's creation and that we are his masterpiece, right? And I know it can seem so cliche-ish and just something to easily roll off the tongue, but that's something that I had to really repeat to myself, believe, digest, ingest, and constantly rehearse. Because if you really believe that and really understand it, just know then that there's no one that's the same, and that your features and who you are makes you you. There can never be one duplicated. There can never be another replicated. While someone may have your name and there can be thousands and hundreds of thousands with the same name, there will never be the same person. There will never be another Mary. There will never be another Sue. There will never be another Kathy. There will never be another Robert or Michael or Joe. There will never be another one of you. Had to realize there would never be another one of me, Tasha Michelle. And so now I need to embrace all that I am. I need to embrace my quirks. I need to embrace, those things sometimes even that we consider flaws. Have you ever considered your skin color or your hair a flaw? I did. Have you ever, we can think of, flaws as things that we don't like about ourselves and that we want to change. But some of those things we consider a flaw is who we are, and it's not going anywhere. And then we still work to try to switch it and change it instead of embracing it and loving ourselves and having that self-love and having that self-esteem and having that confidence, having that mindset of I'm comfortable and I'm loving the skin that I'm in. So even getting to that process, guys, I can tell you that that just not too long happened for me to the point where I could truly 100% say that I'm loving the skin that I'm in. Like, for real. That's why I said you go through this whole process and this journey. It's not just for people that are going through and struggling through as a kid or as a teenager. We can still battle and deal with these things as adults, full adults. And then we wonder why the choices that we make and the things that we do is because maybe it's some things that we've suppressed and we have not dealt with and managed and been honest about, that we're not truly comfortable in the skin that we're in. We don't truly love and value ourselves, And so, yeah, like, we have to be able to come to that realization and knowing that God made me who I am for a reason. I am not flawed by the characteristics that he made me to be that cannot be changed. If there are things that, that I'm not innately born with that I can change and do better about, then I can do that. But before I work on trying to change my outward appearance and the physical outside part of me, I have to work on the inside of me. I have to love me. I have to understand my worth, my value. I have to know that I'm important, that I'm loved, that I matter. Can I share something with you? So I told you guys that I journal and write a lot. Well, this is one of the pieces, and I don't know if you can see it. This is one of the little, one of my little journal notebooks that I ripped out. And one day, this is dated March 18th of 2016. So what? That's about 5 years ago of when I really started as an adult working on this myself. And I realized that while I thought I was really confident, and in moments I did have moments of being confident and being okay, but now I'm back in a point because of the choices that I've made, and the people and persons that I'm listening to that's in my ear and telling me what I'm not worth and what I'm everything that I'm doing wrong and nothing's good enough. And I don't measure up. And all of these things, that confidence I have worked so hard to build up has now been down in the pits. And so I came back to this. Now, this was again in March of 2016, where now I had to again start this process over again. And so I wrote down, and if you guys are up for the challenge, this is what I wrote. I said, I am at the top. And then I started writing down all the things that I was and what I thought about myself. And these things were positive things, I will say. I had to start writing down these things of positive words of affirmations, and characteristics about myself, because you know why? Sometimes we all need that reminder. Sometimes we forget about those things that are within us. And so even some of the things that I wasn't, maybe I didn't realize that I was, when people would say, oh, Tasha, you're so kind, or oh, you're really good at this, you know what, I would come back to the list, and if I didn't have it on there, then maybe I would add it. I'm like, oh, well, somebody recognized this about me, and you know what, then I had this in my little prayer corner, or I will pull it out at different times, because eventually I end up posting it, because it's a piece of tape. It's still on my little wall now. So it'll go back up there, because I know that if I ever need to go back and be reminded, when men and people in this outside world will try to say all that I'm not, maybe sometimes I need this reminder, I can come back to it. But I use this as something I would say and rehearse and repeat constantly, at least daily, because I had to let it start to get within me. And so I said, I'll name off, I am beautiful, I am talented, I am caring, I'm loyal, I'm strong, I am carefree, I'm confident, I'm fearless, I'm successful, I'm helpful, I'm persistent, I'm valuable, I'm needed, I'm wanted, I'm dedicated, I'm kind, I'm pretty, I'm worth it. You're worth it. I had to realize I'm worth it. I'm God's child. I'm consistent. I'm optimistic. I'm capable. I'm chosen. I'm saying all these things. I'm an overcomer. I'm favored. I'm determined. I'm diligent. Like, I'm saying all these things and more, because I had to realize this for myself. And I had to begin to ingest this so that I could begin to not just say it, but then believe it, right? Because what you think becomes a part of what you speak. What you speak, then becomes your reality. You have the power, right? And life is in the power of your own tongue, life or death. And so I had to change all the things that I heard previously and what I thought about myself, and change that now, so that I can start beginning to speak positive affirmations, begin to speak life into my situation, into my confidence and my self-esteem. And so now we look at this and we fast forward now to current day. I journaled again this is probably a couple months ago, and maybe it was to the day, maybe it was a month ago. I don't know, I have to go back because I don't have that pulled up. But I have to go back to, I just had this moment in meditation and devotion, and I had this overwhelming sense of calm and peace, and then joy, and a smile that just popped on my face. And you know what? It came from internal joy and peace and happiness. And that's when this dropped in me, that I'm loving the skin that I'm in. I was like, you know what? After all that I've been through, all that I've come up against, the battles, the struggles, the low confidence, low self-esteem, poor image, self-hate, like all of these things, not being comfortable, not accepting, feeling like I had to conform to somebody else in the way that I spoke, sometimes in the way that I behave to try to fit in, to try to compare myself constantly to others, to try to meet the mark of society, and even trying to do all those things and still not measuring up and still not, the popular one or the accepted one or the liked one. And regardless, all of that to try to fit in and be something who I really wasn't. And it wasn't getting me anywhere anyway. And I had to stop. And I said, I'm tired. And to get to that point where then I could exhale and then I could realize, like, yes, I am comfortable in the skin that I'm in. I'm loving the skin that I'm in. I recognize now who Tasha really is. And so, guys, when you see me smile, oh my gosh, I wish you could understand and know, like, I don't know that I've smiled as much that I smile now. And I feel it catching on. I recognize now, it seems like that there's more people that recognize and say, oh, you look so happy. Oh, yes, I can really see, like, oh, you are doing well, or yes, girl, and all these different things. And it's like, I'm glad that is coming from a genuine place. There's plenty of times that I smiled and it really wasn't. And I really internally was not. Like, all this time that I literally felt that I was dying emotionally, internally, this battle, this struggle. And so now, like, when you see this smile on my face, it is coming from a true, genuine place, because I had to come to this understanding that I'm comfortable and I'm loving me. If nobody likes me, if nobody else accepts me, one, I know that I'm loved and accepted by God. And I know that I am his beautiful masterpiece and his creation. And two, I love me, flaws and all. How about some of the things I thought were flaws are not flaws, but I accept them as my beautiful trademarks of being authentically Tasha Michelle. It's a trademark. That's authentically being Tasha Michelle. I'm loving that. And the things that I need to work on and to constantly be a better person, then yes, I will do that. And I'm steadily striving on this journey, because I'm not done. But I can embrace and accept all of who I am. I'm loving who I am. I'm loving who God created me to be. I'm loving who God is calling me to be. I'm loving the place that he has me in, and this journey that I've taken and where I am now, and to see that result, to see that it pays off, to see that it doesn't always have to be that way. I'm loving it. I'm loving me. And you know what? When you internally come to that reckoning within yourself, and you love you and you accept you, it's amazing what people on the outside will see and how they will begin to treat you. Because we've heard this before, right? That people learn how to treat you, by what you allow, by what you accept. And that all plays into how you value yourself, how you view yourself. Do you love you? Do you value you? Or are you a pushover? Will you just let them walk all over you because you don't feel like you have a voice, that you matter? But when you begin to change that, then people have to change how they treat you. They have to change how they come at you. They have to change, like their whole game in your friendships, in your professional relationships, even in your romantic relationships. They have to change, because now you understand your value and your worth. And a lot of times people already know what's within you or who you are. They just want to see how long and if you will ever realize it yourself. I want to let you know that there's value and worth in you. And I too want you to love the skin that you're in. And if by chance you are not there, it is okay, because I too was there where you were. But I'm here to let you know and be a witness that you don't have to stay there. Yes, I know that means it's hard. Yes, I know that means you're going to have to uncover some things that you suppressed and maybe not wanted to deal with, because you've let these things that have happened to you make you feel ugly and unwanted. Yep, can we talk about some things? Yep, you were mistreated and bullied and talked about. You know, I understand. You know, maybe you've had some really rough and hard experiences that, maybe you've been abandoned, had those issues. You didn't feel like you were good enough and worthy enough because your mom or your dad wasn't there. You didn't have family. Maybe you dealt with that. And I'm so sorry that those things happened to you, but I want to let you know that just because that happened does not mean that you are of any lesser value, that you matter, you are important. And when you become to really love who you are and the skin that you're in, there's freedom when you begin to put aside those things and those expectations of the world and society and others. And there's a happiness and a joy that is sometimes unexplainable. It's a beautiful thing. If I can smile again, I can tell you, you too can smile again. And I'm not talking about the fake smile that maybe you've dealt with and lived with for years to get by. I'm talking about that true, that genuine, internal happiness and joy that will resonate and permeate on the outside. You can have that too. And it does take some work, and it takes that moment of being vulnerable. We've talked about that word a lot before, being vulnerable. Yeah, you first got to be vulnerable and open with yourself. You do, right? You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to be able to look at yourself. That physical mirror, that proverbial mirror, and be able to deal with the issues, those things on the inside. And when you begin to stay committed and consistent to the work, then these things will begin to change and turn around for you. Something as simple as writing down a list about all that you are and who you are. Maybe that's even can be a challenge, because have you ever sat and thought and tried to think about yourself in that way? Try it. I encourage you to do it if you haven't. That's our takeaway this week. If you even if you're in a good place, it doesn't hurt to have that. And I'll probably go back through and see if there's something else I can add to the list, because this was from 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Is there something else that I've discovered and learned about myself, because I'm constantly growing and developing? Maybe there's something else I've discovered that I'm loving about me, and I can go back through and add it to the list and add that to my words of affirmation that I say to myself and begin to believe about me. So I hope and pray that you guys are encouraged, and that this will be of encouragement to you. This will be of help to you, or if not you, somebody, whoever may hear this now or later, because it's so important that we not compare, that we not hold ourselves to other standards or other people's standards, but we understand and know who we are and whose we are, and that we can't There are some things that we have control over can change, but those things that are our trademark and makes us who we are, that we have to love, embrace, and accept all of who we are, so that we can be comfortable and love the skin that we're in, and we can then achieve true happiness and true peace. And if that's where you are, you're on that journey to finding that true happiness and true peace. um, this evening we can close out in a short brief moment of prayer, because my heart really truly is for you, that you find that and that you discover it. And if there's something I can do to help you on your journey, then I hope that this is one piece and one step to get you on that track to doing so. And if there's something else that I can do for you, then you can let me know. Inbox me, or come join the Nuggets of Wisdom Facebook group, because I just feel like I want to be able to help and encourage as many people as possible. But tonight, before we close out, we can have that brief word of prayer, because my heart's desire is that you realize that you are so much more and so valuable and worth it, and that who you are, you're needed in this world, and there will never and can never be another one like you. God, we thank you and we praise you for tonight, and we thank you for this opportunity to be able to share and encourage one another. And I'm thankful for this opportunity, a moment of transparency and openness, that hopefully that someone can be blessed and encouraged. And for those who may be battling or struggling with being comfortable and loving the skin that they're in, my prayer tonight, God, is that you meet them at their place of need, their point of need, their breaking point. You meet them at their point of vulnerability, Lord God, that you can begin to do the internal work. Lord God, that they can give to you their brokenness and those things that they've held in for so long, the things that they suppressed for so many years, the things that they've tried to erase and forget about, but yet it's still a part within them because they haven't dealt with it. They haven't healed from it. God, I ask that at this point in time, you allow those things to be uncovered so that they can be made whole. God, we thank you for wholeness, that they are made whole from the inside out, that they can begin to experience true love, true peace, and true happiness, God, with who you have created them to be. God, we thank you, because we know that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works. God, you make no mistakes. And so when we cannot understand it, when it just does not make sense, we still hold on to this point in your word, that we know that you love us with an everlasting love, and that we were created on purpose. We were created with purpose in mind. God, that there was no mistake in us being here, oh God, and making it to earth. So while we're here, God, help us to find and go to be able to maximize our time here on earth, and to be able to live on purpose, and to live in purpose, and to live in the now. God, we thank you for this time, and we thank you that we could be changed from this point forward, that we're moving forward and not looking back. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. Well, I hope and pray that that was an encouraging nugget for you. And I appreciate you guys talking back to me on the different platforms. And I'm glad that that was a point of, being able to encourage and bless someone else. And we can encourage each other. So I appreciate that feedback, because you guys encouraged me. We try to jump in every Monday night live. So 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central, right here. So next time, join us again. Invite somebody, share it. We hope to see you again next Monday. All right, guys. So have a great, awesome week. It's going to be fabulous. All right, speak it, believe it, go do it. Remember, this year we're about being intentional with our choices, being intentional with our lives, because we are going and reaching for and towards purpose. All right, so live on purpose, guys. Live on purpose, live in purpose, live in the now. And I will see you guys next week. I love you so. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you again soon.